All right. Well, welcome, Madi. Thank you so much for your time this afternoon. And as I mentioned, our project is starting blog-style interviews with other leaders of the consciousness community, individuals such as yourself and your organization who are really working to help with humanity's healing, with our upliftment, with this transition that the world is in right now and that we as individuals are experiencing as well. And I would love to visit for just a few minutes about your experience with the Crystal Earth Project and what synergies or overlaps you see with the work that you're doing and with this project. And had the great good fortune to know Madi and her husband Tim for a few years now. And most recently, we co-hosted the Gathering for Humanity, inspired by our beloved grandmother, Flor de Mayo. And Madi and Tim co-founded Praising Earth, which is a nonprofit that, as I understand it, is working to help reestablish the oral traditions, song, poetry, story, and how that is helping to re-enliven our connection with ourselves, with each other, and with our mother, with Mother Earth. And I would love to invite you just to speak for a few minutes about the work that you're doing and what first inspired you to, align with the project and support as we have in the last few years.
Yes, well, thank you, Angela. And I am feeling very honored to have dialogue about your organization, what you're doing through the Crystal Earth Project. I'm very inspired and have felt that way ever since we first linked up. I think I got invited by you to one of your gatherings, which is really bringing the community together for, the similar purposes. We're all hearing this call at this time to serve for the benefit of the healing of the earth, for the awakening of humanity to this new paradigm. And you're holding a piece and a place for the community to gather. And when I came to the Crystal Earth Gathering, might have been a couple of years back now, you invited me and my women's community that I've been holding here in Santa Fe, New Mexico, called the Song Carriers Women's Circle. And we are a sisterhood that is devoted to revitalizing and taking care of the sacred waters. And we gather together, and I guide the women in singing songs for the waters and the earth and all of life. These songs come from many places around our Mama Earth, and they're in the indigenous languages of all of these places that we are singing from, everywhere from Europe all the way to Turtle Island and in between. We are holding songs that might not necessarily be sung as much as the next generation, this generation, the young ones, are in some sense getting a little distracted by all of the technology. And we as the women, have this nurturing sensibility to take care of these songs for the future generations. We feel, and our work of Praising Earth, which is the larger house for my women's work and community and my husband's men's community, which holds the sacred fire and is coming together with the sacred word and through poetry and storytelling. And we're basically, our organization and our community and yours are so intertwined. We're really working and serving the same thing, which is, really important at this time on our earth that we're coming together in this way. And I'm seeing that now various communities around the world are finding each other who are like-minded, that we want to do something that's life-giving. And I believe that that's what you're doing. And I'm holding this crystal seed. I hope I can show it on the screen here, but it is been a profound sacred object when I hold it in my hands. And when I received this crystal seed, I have been learning so much, and I have been remembering so much by just spending time with this crystal seed. I hold it in my hands. I feel the strong and deliberate and intentional structure, which feels to me in my hands like the divine masculine, that's held so beautifully. And then as we see all this space in between, for me is the space of the divine sacred feminine. And so I've been speaking my prayers into this seed, and I sense that I speak my prayers daily into the morning sunrise, and I make my offerings. And this is a new tool for me to send my prayers out and have them, what feels like, get amplified so big because of the design of this crystal seed, that amazing things are happening when I'm in prayer with the seed. And so I'm very grateful that this vision came to the Crystal Earth Project family, and you're sharing it with all the people now. So thank you so much, Angela.
Thank you, Madi. And yeah, that was really special. After the gathering, our project, we just felt that impulse to gift grandmothers with this technology, that we feel we're all seed carriers of some form.
Yeah.
It means many things to each of us. And with these seeds, as you were saying, that amplification of just your work, and what my experience has been of you over these years, and especially at the gathering, we really just wanted to honor that and gift you as a grandmother, as an, I guess I use the word grandmother as an elder, simply meaning someone who is embodying wisdom in service to your community. And that really, Madi, defines how I've always seen you move in your family and in the world now. And so, yeah, it's really beautiful to see you and hear some of your experiences. I remember you had shared that you were starting a council recently, and that you just felt inspired and just, yeah, and it sounds as though your work really is snowballing in recent months from that community level to the global level. And just anything else that you feel share with
yes,
what you saw. You had shared with me, you know, in that meeting with the seed, or just anything else would be, it was so powerful when you mentioned that to me last month.
Well, I am deeply honored that in that moment of the ceremony with the grandmothers, that I was called forward to step in and hold this seed. And what's coming to me is that when I step forward to receive something, I receive it for an entire community of many grandmothers, of many women and men and children, and the waters herself, that I'm receiving that on behalf of all of them. So I really am honored by that. And when I received the crystal seed, I began to remember back to my childhood. I spent time on the Cherokee reservation, going to ceremony, and my mother raised me around those ways. Even though haven't been able to physically on paper find that line to the Cherokee people, I do feel that I have a spiritual lineage to the Cherokee people from the initiations I had as a child, more in the Cherokee way, and learning the songs and even how to call the directions and things like that in the Cherokee way. And we spent time with who's now an elder, Diani Waku. And I always smile when I think of her because she called me when I was a child, the dancer. And that's what I've done in my life, is I have found my way through various forms of dance, but the past 7 years really focusing on ceremonial dance for the earth and for the healing that is needed at this time. And she would tell me to be really thoughtful when I would work with crystals, to not treat them like, oh, that's a pretty stone, but to really, like the eagle feather, hold them a sacred way and wrap them in a sacred way and not just leave them all around. And she reminded me that the crystals are activated with heat, warmth, and sound. And in my path, the Creator has led me to use my voice. I did have a path of singing that was more creative, and I was a performer. And then when I had my first child 12 years ago, Creator really turned my life and had me go on a path where I began to learn and remember really how to use my voice for prayer and for creating life. And so I went back to my mother, who had taught me songs in Cherokee, and I went back to the teachings, and I was then guided to put the call out to the women and hold a community, and that's what I've been doing now for the past 10 years. And so I have this sense that when the Spirit's guided you to give me this crystal seed, that it's time for me to open up to the knowledge of the crystals again and learn more. And I'm feeling very much like a baby to know all of the medicine and wisdom of the crystals. But that's what's profound, is that when we have the tools like prayer and song and ceremony and meditation, we can listen. And I believe the crystals speak, and they speak in your dreams, and they speak in ways that move my heart. And in fact, on the 4th day after I received this crystal seed, I had observed 4 days of receiving this into my heart and into our holy house, this Hogan that I'm in right now. And on the 4th day, a song came through me from the crystal seed. And when songs come through me, I really have, over the years, practiced really surrendering to what is coming through and not using my mind in any way to think about, is that a good melody? And so this was a spirit melody that came in, and when I sang it back, I realized it was making the design of the crystal seed, which is these 3 points here. It has this melody which moves in 3s, and then one part of the melody has the 4th, which I believe is the divine mystery that's inside and porous all throughout this crystal seed, that when the intentions are are good and right for the highest good of all, those crystals send out that prayer. And then that's when the divine mystery and the feminine come into play with that structure of the masculine, and something beautiful is birthed, can be birthed from these seeds when we come to them with that intention for creating life and goodness for the future generations. So I'm very happy to share this melody if you'd like. I feel like I have permission to do that because I first shared it in the Inipi in the lodge with actually your brother Matthew. And I normally wait to share these things, but we're in a time right now, and I'm learning this from the grandmothers, that is about sharing from a place of good intention, and that we are actually moving through and past the point that we have been in, which is to hold the knowledge secret, because we're at a critical moment where if we don't begin to share the knowledge and what's coming through, we're holding back and we're waiting, and that's not the time we're in. And in fact, I'm seeing that on my path of carrying songs, that grandmothers who have in the past said, now hold this song so sacred that it's not ever shared on the internet. And this particular song that I'm speaking of for the sacred waters comes from the Ojibwe grandmothers, that it's been shared around the world in women's circles with the protocol and the important information from the grandmothers, never to share it on the internet. And just recently, in this last month, that song was released on the internet by the grandmothers. And this is a new dawning, a new day, where I just want to speak that when I share this, I share it with good intentions of it helping to awaken our fellow brothers and sisters in your hearts, that we are being called at this time to utilize any of those gifts that we have, because it is needed, because things are moving very, very fast. As Grandmother Flor de Mayo spoke, we need to move as fast as the light. And that really, take that into your heart, sisters and brothers. We need to do our part. And if you at all feel that calling in your heart to sing, to dance, to pray, to create, to meditate, to heal, now is the time, not to delay. So with your permission, Angela, if I can share this melody.
I'd be very honored. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, Oh, don't.
I'm always moved to tears, Madi, when you offer through your voice. So powerful. And what you were saying about the three with the fourth, what I really felt was a stirring, was a weaving energy, which it was, yes, it was more of that fluid flow restructuring rather than anything that was finite or defined or an action. It was just the mystery, as you said. And what I am so grateful to see and to feel you and your relationship with this, we could use the word technology, is I know that part of the project we plant these in the earth and they connect into the natural intelligence and healing frequencies of the mother and help us as humanity calibrate with that. And also we keep them in our shrine space. And as healers, you are a healer. It is, I would say, threading your unique healing vibration, that your gift, that you were born, it's infusing it with, it's like plugged into that umbilical cord of Mother Earth so that your unique voice is like, and not just voice in your beautiful song, but your gifts of why you are walking the earth at this time is, has that grace of all places that are holy on earth, which is all places on earth, supporting, and that is the way that your work is filtered, is through that. And the seed is just helping, you use the word amplify, that your unique contributions. That was really beautiful, Madi. Thank you.
My pleasure. And thank you, Angela, for your beauty and the way you walk in the world, and for your also courageous stepping out and sharing your voice as you're doing now and connecting with other people who are really loving the earth and wanting to serve and be vessels for some big work right now. And so we are allies, and I want to remind the sisters that we may be working in different capacities. We may be spiritual activists or physical activists on the pavement protesting. We may be doing various things, but that we are really working for the same thing. And there's no need to divide into camps, but really, like the waters teach us, that we are here to flow together so that we can hold life. You know, the waters are the creative matrix for all of life, and yet we need that divine masculine structure to hold those waters so that we can be in this together. And when we bring our prayers from where many of us have been for a long time, I feel even the women's way has been to be in the dark of the moon and be weaving our prayers, you know, in the safety net of the dark womb space. It feels very comforting to us. And I'm hearing the call these days to bring those inner, darker womb space prayers into the light. And when I was holding this crystal seed, I was seeing that the light reflecting on one of them creates this beam that's sent out, and it creates what I was seeing, and there is a rainbow. And the rainbow is about unity, and really unity of all people at this time, to realize we've all been hurt, we've all done wrong, we've all been wronged. Through the process of of wanting to control the earth, possibly things getting way off on the pendulum to the masculine, patriarchal control, whereas right now we're being called to bring what I believe the women at this time to step forward first in a way, to bring the healing that needs to happen, because we understand that physiologically, because we have our wombs, we have our bleeding time, and we constantly nurturing life. But really the biggest thing is this healing of the divine masculine and feminine and bringing it into balance. It's really about the balancing time right now. And that's what I think is so beautiful about the crystal seeds, is that they really are that. They are physically in that form that, and when you put your prayers, your intentions into that, you have some very powerful, like a portal to send out, like I do with my fire. The sacred fire is a portal. When I put my tobacco in there, or any offerings in the fire, it goes out and then it works. It spreads out. And I think this is the same thing, really, crystal seeds. And so coming together, sisters, and I know we have lots of long history of things that have been hard, and we have been hurt, and some of us continue, we get stuck in a pattern, but in any moment we can just surrender to the beauty of life and let our vulnerable selves show. Shadows can be purified and raised up and no longer controlling us from the realms of confusion and this type of thing. So that's what's moving through me today, and thank you for this special time to share from our hearts together. And I've received a lot from being in your presence, Angela, all these years, and also learning from you, and look forward to the journey ahead. So I pray there will be a long journey.
There very, very much will. Yeah. Much gratitude. Thank you so much, Madi, and I'll see you soon.
Thank you. Yes. Blessings.
See you soon.
Oh.